If you think Gucci and Nike came to Roblox to make money, you're wrong. The math there isn't just bad, it's absurd. An item with a logo costs $1. 30 cents goes straight to the platform. The rest doesn't come to you as money, it comes as the platform's own currency, and you can only convert it at a rate the same platform sets. What actually reaches the brand is about 25 cents. For a company with billions in revenue, that isn't even funny. A store like that costs more than it will ever bring in, and everyone knows that going in. And yet, over the past year, more than 600 brands opened exactly these guaranteed money-losing stores. Nike, Ralph Lauren, Tommy Hilfiger, Hugo Boss, Gucci, Adidas. They opened them in a place where the customer has no salary, no card, and no driver's license. The answer I eventually dug up is simple and a little uncomfortable. They're not selling anything there. They're buying. They're buying from an 8-year-old the one thing he has plenty of and they've run out of. 15 years of his life, in advance. Stay till the end, this gets stranger.
Nick, why do you keep buying stuff in a game? Because it looks awesome! Look at me, head to toe in brands! Nick, do you dress like that in real life? Bro, in real life I don't have a camera on me.
The first thing I wanted to understand was why every brand went to Roblox specifically. There's no shortage of games with millions of players. It turned out to come down to 4 things, and not one of them is about entertainment. Reason 1. One appearance for everything. In a normal game, a skin is just a costume inside one world. Close the game and the costume is gone. In Roblox, your avatar is the same everywhere. There are millions of worlds and you walk through all of them wearing the same clothes. Buy a branded item and you wear it everywhere you go. That's not a skin anymore. That's your digital identity. Reason 2. A built-in audience. Regular advertising shows the item to you personally. You watch it, you close it, nobody around you saw a thing. But an item on your avatar is seen by hundreds of other kids while you play. You're not just buying clothes. You're buying clothes with an audience already attached.
Reason 3. A ready-made market with no fabric in it. Brands don't have to teach kids to pay for things that don't exist. They're already doing it. There's a giant digital marketplace running inside the platform. Think about the scale. 14 million items of clothing, 120,000 independent digital tailors, and over $300 million a year that kids spend on intangible hoodies, hairstyles, and sunglasses. The market was already built. The brands just walked into a finished house. And the main one, reason 4, a $1 ticket in. In the real world, Gucci or Ralph Lauren don't have a single product an 11-year-old can afford. The cheapest bottle of perfume is $80, and that is not kid money. In the game, it's $1. A child can afford to wear your logo every single day in front of a dozen of his classmates. How far does this go? In 2021, a digital Gucci bag, one you can't touch, can't take out of the game, and can't resell anywhere else, was bought secondhand for $4,115. The real leather one in the boutique was $3,400. People laughed at that at the time. They shouldn't have. What are you actually paying €2,500 for in a boutique? Quality is the first answer to fall apart, and we don't have to argue about it. We can just test it. Take that bag and carry it to a city where nobody has ever heard of the fashion house. Not one person who recognizes the letter on the clasp. What's it worth there? Exactly what any decent brown bag is worth. It didn't get cheaper. The thing you were paying extra for just disappeared. In 2024, a court in Milan went through a case involving the contractors who sew for the big houses. The filings list the wholesale prices. A contractor handed over a Dior bag for €53. In the store, that bag sold for around €2,600. Armani, in the same documents, €93 going in and the same couple of thousand coming out. I'm not talking about labor exploitation here. Plenty of people covered that without me. I'm talking about what the price is made of. €53 is the bag. 2,500 is the fact that strangers on the street know how to read the letter. In other words, the audience. Advertising for the big houses isn't aimed at the buyer. It's aimed at the people who will never buy the bag but are required to recognize it. Otherwise, the buyer has nothing to pay for. Think about how strange that setup is. The value of your possession is stored inside other people's heads, which means the main asset of a fashion house isn't a factory. It's the number of people on the planet who can identify its mark. And like any infrastructure, it wears out. People get older, they die, They lose interest. They move on to something else. Every year, a slice of that audience drops out of the network, and somebody has to be put in their place. Somebody who will grow up knowing for certain that this particular letter means expensive. That network used to be repaired with a ladder. It's a well-known method, about 100 years old. At the bottom, perfume and cosmetics. Above that, a belt, a wallet, sunglasses, a t-shirt with the logo on it. At the top, the bag, the fur coat, the watch. The bottom steps aren't there for the money. The money down there is decent too, of course, but the point is that a 20-year-old buys an $80 bottle of perfume and buys, along with it, the right to feel like he belongs. He learns the code on the cheap stuff, and 15 years later, when real money shows up, he already knows exactly what he wants. Then something unfortunate happened to that ladder, and luxury did it to itself. After 2019, prices went up, then up again, and again. The reasons varied, and some of them were perfectly fair, but the result was the same. The entry ticket stopped being an entry ticket. The perfume, the t-shirt, the wallet, all of it moved up out of reach. Now the Bain reports, they count this market every year. Over 2 years, the industry lost somewhere around 50 million customers. In 2025 alone, about 20 million. And it isn't millionaires walking away. It's exactly that bottom layer, the people who used to come in for perfume and a t-shirt. The upper steps are perfectly fine. Rich people stayed rich. The same reports also say where the future money is. By 2030, Gen Z will account for a quarter to a third of all luxury purchases, and after them, the ones who are younger still. Anyone holding a marketing budget sees both of those numbers at once. The bottom step is gone, and the future customer is currently in 6th grade. So the step has to be rebuilt, cheap enough for a 12-year-old to afford and visible enough that other 12-year-olds can see it. And what do 12-year-olds do? Exactly. They play Roblox.
Hey! Hit like and subscribe. It really helps us out.
The cost of producing a digital item is zero. No materials, no wages, no shipping. Make it once, sell it 1,000,000 times. Sounds like a dream rather than a business. So let's actually do the math. A player pays $1. 30 cents goes straight to the platform. The rest doesn't come to you as money. It comes as the internal currency, Robux. You can only exchange those for real dollars at a rate the platform itself sets. After the exchange, roughly 25 cents of that dollar reaches the seller. Multiply that by 1,000,000 items sold. That's $250,000. For a fashion house with billions in revenue, that's a rounding error. A decent world in Roblox costs more to build than it will ever return, which means this isn't the revenue line at all. It's the marketing line. Nobody is earning there, they're paying. And once you understand that, the question flips. Not how much did they make on this, but what did they buy with the money? Here's what they bought. A normal ad holds your attention for 6 seconds, and that's if you don't skip it. In a branded world, a teenager spends an average of 12 minutes per visit. And it isn't watching an ad. He walks around inside the logo, he picks it, saves up for it, shows it to his friends, puts it on again tomorrow. Exactly what people used to go to the mall for. Only 400 times cheaper, with the audience built in. Now for the fair objection. Nice theory, but how do we know the kid grows up and remembers any of it? Maybe he forgets in a year. It's hard to test. Nobody's going to run a 15-year study just to answer that. But one case like this is documented down to the last digit, for the simple reason that it ended up in court. In 1988, a tobacco company made a cartoon camel the face of its brand. Cheerful, wearing sunglasses, playing pool, up on billboards. The company's explanation, this advertising is for adults. In 1991, a medical journal published a study. Children aged 3 to 6 were shown pictures and asked to say what went with what. 91% of 6-year-olds correctly connected that camel to cigarettes. Roughly the same share of children that age recognized Mickey Mouse. Notice, the children weren't buying anything. They'd simply learned who was in charge. I'm not bringing this up to compare a handbag to a cigarette. Different products, different consequences, and this isn't a conversation about harm. I'm bringing it up because it's the only case where learning a brand in childhood and actual purchases later were measured, recorded, and entered into evidence. There are commerce studies too, of course, much more boring ones. Roughly a quarter of the brands a person deals with as a child stay with them into adulthood. A quarter is a lot. In marketing, people move mountains for a quarter. Now for the part the brands conquered the metaverse articles tend to leave out. Most of what got built is standing empty. The loudest example is Gucci itself. In 2022, the house built an entire town inside Roblox. A square, shops, rides. A year and a half later, the town was shut down with no explanation. In its place, there's now another project from the same house, smaller and simpler. And it isn't a one-off. A number of the worlds built in 2021 and 2022 were abandoned within the first year. On a pure cost-per-view basis, building one of these comes out more expensive than television. On top of that, the complaints to regulators about advertising a child can't tell apart from a game, those have been sitting there since 2022, and they haven't gone anywhere. You'd expect brands to back off. Instead, the number of these projects tripled in 2 years. The only thing that changed was the tactics. Building your own town turned out to be expensive and pointless. You still have to get people to come. It's cheaper to embed yourself in someone else's game where the people already are. Put your item inside a popular world that kids return to every day anyway. Until 2025, the whole scheme had a hole in it. Between the game and the cash register lay a 15-year gap. The kid wears a digital t-shirt, and then what? You wait for him to finish school and find a job? Apparently not. In May 2025, the gap was closed. Selling real, physical products inside the games was allowed, with real delivery, through an ordinary store engine. For now, in the US only, and only from age 13. And the second half of it, which I find even more interesting, they launched a program where buying something in a real store gives an item to your character in the game. The connection now runs both ways. The digital item pulls you toward the real one, and the real one pulls you back into the game. The storefront became a cash register. What happened next is that the platform got buried in child safety lawsuits from several state governments, dozens of cases. In response, they rolled out camera-based age checks. The system looks at your face and sorts people into age brackets. It was done for safety, and there's no real argument with that. But here's the side effect. An audience that used to be a vague crowd with no documents is now neatly sorted by age. Advertisers dreamed about that for years and couldn't buy it at any price. Let's go back to that bag, the one that went for $4,115. People laughed at it, paying more than the leather one costs for a set of pixels. But they were paying for exactly the same thing people pay for in the boutique. For the fact that the people standing around them know what it is. In the boutique, that costs €2,500 on top of 53. There, it cost 4,000 because there happened to be more people watching. A mark is worth exactly as much as the crowd that can read it. Luxury knows this better than anyone. It's the only thing the industry has been doing for the last 100 years. The crowd just happens to be sitting in Roblox right now. And it's 11 years old.